You've saved for months. You meticulously picked out your high-end CPU and GPU, and you're finally ready to build your dream PC. But hold on, that motherboard you're about to buy might have a hidden critical flaw that turns your new rig into a stuttering, crashing, and deeply frustrating nightmare. See, in the tech world, some companies are pushing boards with crippling design flaws. From power delivery that throttles your expensive new CPU, to dead-end upgrade paths and BIOS issues that would drive you crazy. Today we're exposing the 5 motherboards you should absolutely under no circumstances buy in 2025. I'm going to show you the data, explain the problems in plain English, and most importantly give you a safe, powerful alternative for every single one. Number 5 offender. The great deal on a dead-end platform. Intel Z690/B660/B550. Coming in at number 5 isn't a single motherboard but a whole category. Last generation's high-end boards. I'm talking about Intel Z690 and B660 motherboards for 12th, 13th, and 14th gen CPUs, and to a lesser extent AMD's X570 and B550 boards for the AM4 platform. On paper, these look like an incredible deal in 2025. You see a top-tier board, once $400, now selling for a fraction of that. It's loaded with features, tons of USB ports, beefy heatsinks, and a premium look. The marketing promises amazing performance, and for the CPUs they were designed for, that's not wrong. They were fantastic. But here's the flaw. You're buying a first-class ticket on a train that has already reached its final stop. Both Intel's LGA 1700 and AM4 sockets are at the end of their life. There will be no new CPUs for these platforms. Ever. That shiny new Intel 14th gen or Ryzen 5000 series chip you pair it with is the end of the line. The upgrade path you think you have just isn't there. This is a huge problem for 2 reasons. First, your performance is capped. When your system starts to feel slow in a couple of years, your only option is a total overhaul. New motherboard, new CPU, and probably new RAM. That great deal suddenly becomes a very expensive mistake. Second, and even more concerning, are the platform's known issues. The Intel LGA 1700 platform in particular has been a minefield. Many 13th and 14th gen desktop CPUs suffer from degradation throughout 2024 because of overvolting problems buried in Intel's own microcode. While motherboard makers release BIOS updates to calm things down, the fact that it happened at all has cast a long shadow over the platform's reliability. Are you willing to bet your expensive CPU on a platform with a history of killing chips? For AMD's AM4, it's a story of respectable retirement. It had a legendary run, but building a new system on it in 2025 is like buying a brand new flip phone. It still works, but you're cut off from the modern world. You're giving up DDR5 memory, you're missing out on PCIe Gen 5.0 for your graphics card and SSD, and you're locking yourself into a performance tier that's being left in the dust. So what's the fix? It's simple. Invest in the present, not the past. For the same price as one of these discounted dead-end boards, you can get a solid, modern AM5 motherboard. Look for a B650 or B850 board from AMD. These boards support DDR5, PCIe 5.0, and have a confirmed upgrade path until at least 2027. A board like the Asus TUF Gaming B650-Plus Wi-Fi, for example, gives you a great balance of features, strong power delivery, and access to a living, breathing platform. It can handle high-end Ryzen CPUs, giving you a clear path to drop in a faster chip in a few years without rebuilding your entire PC. Don't fall for the siren song of a cheap, old flagship. It's a trap. The number 4 offender, the bleeding edge beta test. Intel Z890 Arrow Lake platform. At number 4, we have the newest, shiniest, and potentially riskiest platform out there. Motherboards for Intel's Core Ultra Arrow Lake CPUs, specifically those with the Z890 chipset. This is a classic case of newest not always meaning best. The appeal is obvious. You're buying the latest and greatest. But in reality, early adopters are paying a premium to be beta testers. The launch of Intel's Core Ultra 200 series for desktop was, to be gentle, a mess. Reviews show lukewarm performance, with chips sometimes struggling to beat their own predecessors in gaming. Intel even publicly apologized and admitted to a list of problems, from bad OS power management settings to messed up BIOS defaults on reviewer boards. Intel has been rolling out fixes, but the platform launched in a buggy, undercooked state. One of the most bizarre issues is that these brand new CPUs are missing hyperthreading, a core Intel tech for 2 decades. This means many models have fewer threads than the chips they replaced, which hurts performance and productivity and content creation. When you buy a Z890 motherboard right now, you're betting on a promise that future Windows updates and BIOS flashes will unlock the performance that should have been there at launch. But what if they don't? What if new bugs pop up? We've already seen reports of RAM compatibility issues and shaky performance even after the so-called fixes. You're left with an expensive foundation for a shaky and uncertain ecosystem. The solution here is patience. Instead of jumping on the volatile Arrow Lake train, look at its competitor, AMD's mature and stable AM5 platform. While AM5 had its own early hiccups, it's now a robust, reliable, and incredibly powerful ecosystem. An AMD X870 or a high-quality BA50 motherboard is a rock-solid base for powerhouse CPUs like the Ryzen 9000 series. Consider a board like the MSI MAG X870 Tomahawk WIFI. It's known for its great features, solid build quality, and power delivery that can handle the best Zen 5 CPUs right out of the box. You get a platform that's been tested and refined by millions of real-world users. It's not a beta test, it's a finished product. Don't pay top dollar to be a guinea pig for Intel's public troubleshooting. Let the platform mature, let the bugs get squashed, and then see if it's worth your money. The number 3 offender, the brand loyalty biohazard, certain Asus and ASRock models. For our number 3 spot, we need to have a tough conversation about brand loyalty. For years, builders have sworn by certain brands, but in 2025, that reputation isn't a guarantee. Right now, some of the biggest names, especially certain models from Asus and ASRock, are raising major red flags. Let's start with ASRock. Throughout 2024 and 2025, a terrifying issue has been popping up. ASRock's AM5 motherboards, particularly mid to high-end ones, have been physically burning out and killing AMD Ryzen CPUs. This isn't a performance bug, this is catastrophic failure. After months of community outcry, AMD and ASRock found the cause was often overtuned BIOS settings, with ASRock's out-of-the-box defaults being too aggressive for some CPUs. ASRock has since released BIOS updates to improve stability, but the reputational damage is done. When you buy a motherboard, you're trusting that its default settings won't destroy your $1,000 processor. For many, ASRock broke that trust. Then there's Asus, a giant in the industry. While they aren't frying CPUs, Asus has developed a worrying reputation for declining customer support and sketchy warranty practices. Reddit and forums are littered with horror stories about their RMA process, with users being blamed for damage they didn't cause or waiting months for a replacement. When you spend big on a premium Republic of Gamers board, you expect premium support, and that's not what many customers are getting. Now, this isn't a blanket condemnation. Both brands still make some excellent motherboards, but these patterns are a serious warning sign. The solution is to shop with your head, not your heart. Before you automatically buy from a brand you've used for years, do your homework for 2025. Look for alternatives from brands with better current track records for reliability and support. Gigabyte, for example, has made some of the most stable AM5 boards, like their AOR US Elite series, though they've had their own security issues on older platforms. MSI has also been a strong contender, with their Tomahawk series consistently getting praise for its robust design and balanced features. The takeaway? Be an informed consumer. Read and watch multiple reviews for the specific model you're considering. Pay close attention to what people are saying about long-term reliability and customer support. Brand loyalty has to be earned. And in 2025, some brands are working harder to lose it than to keep it. Alright, we're over halfway through, and if this is helping you plan your next build, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We do deep dives like this every week to help you build better, smarter PCs and avoid expensive mistakes. You don't want to miss the next one. The number 2 offender, the fake future-proof board, standard B650 and budget B760/B860 boards. Coming in at number 2 is maybe the sneakiest motherboard on the market, the fake future-proof board. These are boards that use a current gen chipset like AMD's B650 or Intel's B760 and B860, but quietly cut the corners that matter for the future. They trick you into thinking you're getting a modern platform, but you're really buying a dead end in disguise. The main issue here is a distinction AMD made. B650 versus B650E. On the surface, they sound the same, but that E stands for extreme and it guarantees one critical feature: PCIe 5.0 support for both your graphics card and your main NVMe SSD. A standard B650 board makes this optional, and to save a few bucks, most manufacturers chose to limit standard B650 boards to PCIe 4.0 for the graphics card slot. In 2025, you might think, my GPU is PCIe 4.0, so who cares? You should care. A lot. The AM5 platform is guaranteed new CPUs through at least 2027. Are you really willing to bet that in 2 or 3 years you won't want a GPU that can use a PCIe 5.0 slot? By saving maybe 20 bucks today on a non-E board, you are kneecapping your future upgrades. The same trap exists on Intel's side with cheaper B760 or new B860 boards. Many will advertise the new chipset but completely skip PCIe 5.0 support for the M.2 slot, leaving you stuck with Gen 4 speeds. While the jump from a Gen 4 to a Gen 5 SSD might not be huge for game load times right now, storage tech is moving fast. Technologies like direct storage are starting to leverage ultra-fast SSDs. Buying a new motherboard in 2025 without a PCIe 5.0 M.2 slot is incredibly short-sighted. The solution is to read the spec sheet like a hawk and refuse to compromise. For an AMD build, the answer is simple. Just buy a B650E motherboard. The price difference is often tiny, and it's the single best investment you can make in your AM5 system's longevity. A board like the Gigabyte B650E Aorus Elite X AX Ice or the Asus ROG Strix B650EF Gaming Wi-Fi guarantees you have the bandwidth for next-gen parts. For Intel, you have to be just as careful. Don't just look at the chipset name. Scrutinize the specs to make sure the board explicitly lists one PCIe 5.0 X16 slot for the GPU and at least one PCIe 5.0 M.2 slot for an SSD. Don't let flashy RGB lighting distract you from the core I/O. A truly future-proof board isn't about gimmicks, it's about having the lanes to support the tech of tomorrow. The number 1 offender, the extreme budget trap. A620 and VRM starved B-series boards. And here it is, the number 1 motherboard you should never ever buy in 2025, the extreme budget trap. These are the absolute cheapest boards you can find for a new platform, like AMD's A620 chipset boards or certain MSI Pro models on Intel's side that have basically no cooling. Their price is intoxicatingly low, often under $100, making them seem like the perfect way to squeeze a powerful CPU into a tight budget. This is not saving money. This is self-sabotage. The single biggest flaw with these boards is their awful voltage regulator module or VRM. The VRM is what delivers clean, stable power to your CPU. Think of it as the heart of your motherboard. On these boards, the heart is weak and anemic. They use a bare minimum of power components and worst of all have tiny, useless, or sometimes completely non-existent heat sinks on the VRMs. Here's what that means in the real world. You take your shiny new Ryzen 7 or Core i7 and you drop it into one of these boards. The moment you put that CPU under any real load, like playing a demanding game, the VRMs are instantly overwhelmed. They can't supply enough power, and to keep from overheating, they thermal throttle. They slash the power going to your CPU to cool down. Suddenly, your 5 GHz processor is struggling to hold 3.5 GHz. You get massive jarring stutters in games. Your render times double. You paid for a sports car, but the motherboard only gave you enough fuel to stay in first gear. You are leaving a massive amount of performance on the table. Performance you already paid for. A board like the ASRock A620M-HDV/M.2 is a perfect example. It's often pushed for ultra-budget AM5 builds, but it's only really meant for 65-watt CPUs. If you dare put something like a 7800X3D in there, the board will strangle it. It will work, but you will never get the performance you're supposed to. The solution isn't to overspend, it's to budget smarter. A motherboard is not the place to cheap out. It is the foundation of your entire PC. Find an extra $30 or $40 in your budget. Maybe that means getting a slightly smaller SSD for now or holding off on RGB fans for a month. Use that money to step up to a quality entry-level B-series board that has respectable VRMs with actual heatsinks. For AMD, something like the ASRock B650 MPG Lightning or an entry-level Gigabyte Gaming X makes a world of difference. For Intel, a board like the MSI MAGB 760 Tomahawk can comfortably handle even high-end CPUs without throttling. This small step up in price doesn't just unlock your CPU's full performance, it ensures system stability and protects your investment. Don't let a $100 board cripple your $500 processor. So there you have it. The 2025 motherboard market is full of traps. Don't get fooled by the false economy of a dead-end platform. Don't pay a premium to beta test a buggy launch. Question brand loyalty when reliability is on the line. Read the spec sheet so you don't get a fake future-proof board. And please, never let a budget board with weak VRMs strangle your new CPU. The motherboard is the unsung hero of your PC. It's the foundation for everything else. Choosing the right one isn't about getting the most features. It's about guaranteeing stability, unlocking performance, and giving yourself a path for future upgrades. Now that you know which boards to avoid, your next step is finding the perfect one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.